Good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the Atlanta Motor Speedway as it plays host to the 7th race of the season here for the UpperEdge Racing Baadteshop Superspeedway Series. Getting closer and closer to crowning a champion here in Season 4 as second time these drivers will take to the newly reconfigured mile-and-a-half racetrack tonight's 77-lap event. Going off the Giga Duels last week, it is the third opportunity for drivers to, or a driver, to lock themselves into the Ashfordong, which will be, of course, at the season finale at iRacing Superspeedway. Next week at Daytona will be the final opportunity. Two drivers have already locked themselves in, those being Andrew Siegel and DJ Stagner, who we saw take the checkered flags in last week's two duels at Talladega. Coming into this race, though, a new driver at the top of the point standings, and that is Ryan Potter in the number 99. Ryan holds a 13-point advantage over the former points leader, Dylan Poteet. Bronson Stafford still very much in the mix. The two-time back-to-back champion sits in third position. He's 65 points out. Connor Holden not in the field here tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but he was fourth in points coming to tonight, 86 points back, and then Ty Smith, fifth in the standings, 89 points out of the points lead. We'll see if any of those drivers mentioned there could be able to reel in Ryan Potter here tonight with the unorthodox point system that we keep harping on about, but it is very relevant, and we will see if it is going to in any way be another points lead change heading into our penultimate race on the season next week at Daytona. Now, the last time we were here at Atlanta, we saw quite a number of yellow flags. 6 cautions flew for 19 laps, a lot of torn up race cars. This is not an easy racetrack to get around. It's not an easy racetrack to line up the bumpers, especially through the D-shaped crooked front straightaway. So we'll see if these drivers were able to learn anything from the first time that we came to this racetrack in preparation for tonight. But then again as well, since this second visit to Atlanta is situated 3 races prior to the season finale, I think the aggressiveness is just going to ramp up more and more the closer we get to iRacing Superspeedway. Qualifying is just about wrapped up, and it is looking like we may go 6 for 6 in a different pole sitter, correction, 7 for 7 in a different pole sitter this season. So far, DJ Stagner, Bronson Stafford, Mike Tellier, John Poole III, Dylan Poteet, and Tom Bourne have all started from P1. And unless something changes, which it just did, Shane Tyrion was in the top position, but Bronson Stafford snipes it away with about 30 seconds left on the clock. And so just like that, the bid for 7 straight different pole sitters ends. And Bronson Stafford will be the first multi-time pole sitter on the season. As a matter of fact, that is back-to-back poles here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. His previous pole was the first time we came to this mile-and-a-half racetrack. So Bronson Stafford and Shane Tyrion appear that they are going to be the front row as qualifying appears to be running down, and I believe these final qualifying results are official. So let's take a look at that starting lineup for tonight's event. Bronson by 0.2 faster than Shane Tyrion. Capture his second pole of the season. Mike Tellier makes it a Toyota top 3. Seth Knoll will be the highest starting Chevrolet driver in 4th. Carl Faust is going to be the highest starting Ford. You see Carl Faust is in the 81 tonight. The 81 normally driven by Connor Holden, who is not in the field. Carl we've seen in previous starts in the 12. So don't get confused when you see the 81 out there. It is Carl Faust doing the driving duties this evening. There is one of our winners from last week, DJ Stagner, rolling off from the 7th position alongside of Blake Trawick. Zach Johnson, our winner from the season opener at Talladega. He's back in the field here tonight in that number 36. And Chad Winstead, who's leading the rookie point standings coming into tonight. going to complete the top 10. There's Dylan Poteet, the former points leader, two-time winner on the season, back in 11th. And John Poole III still looking for that first victory on the season. He's been fast in every race he has taken part in. 12 drivers electing to take time out of 22 drivers here tonight. Cody Lamas and Tom Bourne, they'll be back in row 7. Ty Smith, Ryan Potter, the points leader, in row 8. Row 9 finds Joey Chapman. He's back in the field here tonight alongside of Robert Kenny. Andrew Siegel, the other winner in the Dega Duel last week. He's going to complete the top 20 with Sean Billman, and then Jason Shuey and Matt Muir will complete the 22-car field here tonight. Looks like the engines might be firing up, and a couple of drivers have still not yet jumped onto the grid. So they may be in danger of missing the start. That is Carl Faust that we are missing in the 6th position. So he may be starting from pit road. We'll have to wait and see. 77 laps of racing here this evening, 115.5 miles that these drivers will traverse. And Bronson Stafford looking for his second victory on the season. Had a total of 5 different winners so far in the first 6 races. Zach Johnson at Daytona, Poteet back-to-back here at Atlanta the first time in iRacing Superspeedway. Bronson picked up the victory at Daytona, which we're going to next week. And then, of course, just mentioned, Andrew Siegel, DJ Stagner, both picking up their first career victories here in the Baadteshop Superspeedway Series in the Dega Duels last week. So it's Atlanta, Daytona, and iRacing Superspeedway still yet to be run to determine a champion. And Atlanta is the first one up. Bronson Stafford, Shane Terrian, Mike Tellier, and Seth Knoll making his first start on the season. Going to be the top 4, first 2 rows to lead us to the green flag. Flagman's got the green flag ready, and it's waving. We're underway at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Working together, kind of getting in line. The combination of Sky Motorsports and Hula Monkey Motorsports. Matthew Rodriguez let Shane Terrian in. But now Terrian with a run down the back straightaway. He's going to try to get the right rear quarter panel of Mike Tellier for second place. Rodriguez trying to go up there with him. Drifted up pretty high through 3 and 4, and now Tellier's going to go to the bottom, and he's going to make it work. Remember, the apron is not out of bounds. That red line, well, actually it's the double white line right in the middle, is only a boundary limit if you're running in a normal Cup Series. But here in the UpperEdge Baadteshop Superspeedway Series, it is not out of bounds. It's a guideline to show you where the apron ends and where the racetrack begins. So you might see a lot of drivers dive down there, and there they do it again. Now, one thing that I would be a little bit concerned about that I did observe in practice, I believe it was DJ Stagner I was watching, he did that very same thing while he was in a pack of about 3 or 4. And there is a slight transition from the apron to the racetrack. And if you turn the wheel just a little too hard to the right, the car can snap and correct itself back up into oncoming traffic. So drivers have to be wary of that, as Mike Tellier looked like he got the lap lead bonus point. He bailed out. Bronson Stafford's going to get himself a lap lead. Now Shane Terrian will look to the insides. Rodriguez, I think, just got the wall there out of the second half of the front straightaway. And Carl Faust, who missed the start, you just saw him on the apron of 1 and 2 coming out onto the racetrack. He is currently scored 3 laps down in the 21st position, which means that one driver did not take the green, and I believe that was the 60 of Joey Chapman. Terrian gets himself a lap lead. Here comes Blake Trawick on the top side. Dylan Poteet right there with him. We've seen these two work together in the past. They're working together here again. Bronson Stafford by himself, making it 3 wide for the second position. Chad Winstead there in the 6. Had that podium finish in the first Dega Duel last week. Followed it up with another decent run. I think he got a top 10 in the second Dega Duel, and subsequently comes into this race leading the point standings. As of right now, it's Winstead the leader, Andrew Siegel 18 points back in second, Blake Trawick 28 points back in third. And then you got Zach Johnson, 62 back, Matt Muir, 79 back in fourth and fifth. And someone just got the wall again that time. That might have either been Mike Tellier or Robert Kenny. I'm not sure which. Not sure how much Robert Kenny can hurt that vehicle. Is interesting story about the 10. We'll be talking about that here in just a few moments. Toyota's on the bottom. Ford and Toyota on the top. Third on that inside line, a Toyota third on the outside line. You see all the movement here. It's so difficult to keep a tight draft because there's so much back and forth, up and down. Right there you saw Dylan Poteet way out of shape as we're 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Terry at the bottom, Trawick in the middle, Stafford up on the top side. Who gets the run down the back straightaway? Terry's got Winstead. Trawick has Poteet. And Stafford has Bourne in the 16. Like the inside is the faster way around the racetrack. As again, I think someone brushed the wall that time off of 4. I think that could have been the 47 of Tellier. Looks like they're scraping it maybe just with the right rear quarter panel. It's leaving just a little trail of smoke. It's not really stifling anybody's momentum. Might be hitting that right rear flare. Couple of drivers that have already lost the lead pack. Ryan Potter, DJ Stagner, Sean Billman, Ty Smith, all running about 4 seconds behind this lead group. Could be by design, could be kind of lying in wait to see what happens here. Mentioned there were 6 cautions last time we were here at Atlanta. They might be expecting there could be an early one here, and they want plenty of time to be able to slow up and not get involved. Robert Kenny back here battling with our Talladega winner from the very beginning of the season, Zach Johnson. Robert Kenny, look at his hood, it almost looks like he's running Matthew Rodriguez's car. Well, in a way, he kind of is. He's using bits and parts of all of his teammates' cars here. From Talladega. Whoa, Zach Johnson up into the wall there in the 36. If we can get you a shot of what that 10 car looks like, you will see that they've literally just welded together bits and pieces. That thing's still fast. It's got Rock Auto, Steak and Shake. I see some maybe some duct tape patchwork there on the front. Anything to hold that thing together. Arian continues to lead that inside line. Trawick and Poteet still continue on in the middle groove, and now Tom Norby is lonesome up in that third line, trying to make something happen. Looking for a drafting partner. Looks like he'll find it in Mike Tellier. Zach Johnson, who we saw get up into the wall, he's been able to still latch on to the tail end of the lead pack. So may not have been dealt near as much damage as we thought. Big hit! John Poole, the third, just got spun to the inside wall after the 5 of Andrew Siegel came down right into him. Look out, we got a car coming into view. The caution's going to come out because of that with oncoming traffic. That was Ty Smith, who was fast approaching the 32 of Poole, who was trying to get his car turned around, and the yellow flag will wave for the first time here today, 14 laps in. That was a nice little run there. It's hard to tell. It happened so fast. I don't know if Andrew Siegel had some contact, but his Chevrolet darted left very quickly into the path of John Poole III, and Poole paid the price for it. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened off of turn number 2. Watch the yellow car. Hit the wall. No, he gets crowded by Mike Tellier. Tellier comes down off the wall into the 5 and shoots the 5 down into the path of the 32. There's not a whole lot of runoff, especially when you're headed down straight for the inside wall here at Atlanta Superspeedway, especially at the speeds that they carry. So heavy front-end impact for John Poole III. That will more than likely be a faster pair that he will have to take on. Here's on board with John Poole III. Watch how quickly this happens. There's just no reaction time. Right there. Big hit. Takes a shot with the right front, right side. I don't know if we've got a driver cam, but does he have a Mario helmet? He does. There's your answer. He has a Mario helmet. Mustache and everything. How about that? John Poole III. Mario looks happy right there, but I don't think John Poole III's all that happy inside the cockpit of the JP3 Gaming Chevrolet. I believe that is his Twitch channel, if I'm not mistaken. It could be his YouTube channel, but I believe it's his Twitch channel. As he is yet to take on the faster pair here. Had everybody, for the most part, on pit road. Andrew Siegel is actually still there, getting damage repaired. Actually, Poole is on pit road as well, and looks like he went with just manual repairs. Did not take on the faster pair here. Feels there's too many laps still yet to be run. He's down and away. Andrew Siegel still sits on pit road. We got some more drivers coming down, topping off. Stagner, Lamas, Zach Johnson, Ryan Potter, Jason Shuey amongst those. Extended stay on pit road for Matthew Rodriguez. Looks like might have possibly been hit with a speeding penalty. He's held for about 40 seconds. Either that or might have been getting a little bit of TLC done on his Toyota Supra. Lights out atop the pace car. You can see the way the drivers have lined up with the choose cone. Choose cone tonight is the double white line at the start-finish line. If you're choosing the bottom, you got to be on the inside of the double yellow or the double white line. If you're choosing the outside lane, you got to be above it. Very simple, very straightforward. Only a handful of drivers electing that top line. Tellier, Zach Johnson, and Matthew Rodriguez. So big net gains there in track position for the 36 and the 51, who would have probably restarted back in the 13th and 14th position vicinity. So good call there, gaining some track position, but now they'll be fighting to maybe try and get down to that inside line. As Shane Tyrion, who was the leader when the caution came out, is the leader to bring us back to green on lap 17. Things got super spread out right there. Tom Warren's going to have Mike Tellier tuck in behind him. Dylan Poteet in the 4th position, and Robert Kenny now in the 5th spot. Woo, Poteet. Really loose there going into turn 3. That thing nearly stepped out from underneath him. And now he gets freight trained. Kenny on the inside for the 4th position. And here comes Matt Muir in the 72. 5th in rookie points. Trying to get up here and into the hunt for his first victory. 16th in the points coming into this race is Matt Muir, 2 top 10, still looking for that first top 5 in his Baadteshop Superspeedway Series career. Gonna be close at the line, but Shane Tyrion gets it over Tom Bourne. Tom with a big run and a big push from Mike Tellier there through 1 and 2. Might be able to clear off of 2. Down the back straightaway as Mike gets loose, up into the wall, and he got somebody else. That was Poteet. And then Poteet got someone else, which I think was Jason Shuey in the 3. Poteet took a big hit there with the left front. Mike Tellier got up into the wall. He's got some pretty good right side damage. Right front appears to be crinkled in. And maybe it wasn't Shuey, maybe it's Blake Traywick, I think maybe was the other car that got clipped. Yeah, there you see the rear bumper cover is taken off. He was the one that got clipped by Dylan Poteet. Things go from, whoa, Zach Johnson. Drifting on the apron there. He hangs onto it, saves it. Well, things go from bad to worse for Dylan Poteet. Lost the points lead after last week's Dega Duels, and now caught up in an early one here, along with Mike Tellier and Blake Traywick. See if we can go back and see what happened. Tellier was all sorts of sideways out of turn 2. He was trying to push Tom Bourne to the race lead. Watch the second car in line at the top. Right there. Gets loose. Comes up into Poteet, and right there's where Blake Traywick gets clipped. That's good impact on both sides for Dylan Poteet. Like he was trying to get the thing refired. Wait a minute, are we not under caution? We're still under green, I just realized. I thought the yellow flag was out, but we are actually still under green. We'll bring it back to live action. The yellow flag did not save any of the drivers collected up in that. Mike Tellier is still continued on. Dylan Poteet had to come to pit road, and he had to take on his faster pair. He is one lap down. And Blake Traywick is still out there running as well. Scored in the 13th position without that rear bumper cover. Matter of fact, Poteet, who came back onto the racetrack, is in front of race leader Shane Tyrion right now, trying to stay one lap down. And is trying to catch Jason Shuey, who right now is the first car -1. And would be in the lucky dog position should we get a yellow. My apologies, going back there taking time on the display side. Thought we were under caution, but then looked up and saw that the ticker was still green. Apparently that was all deemed off the racing surface and not worthy of a yellow flag being thrown. Poteet now getting 2 laps down as Shane Tyrion and Tom Bourne work their way around the outside of the 31. Got another slow car up ahead. I think that's John Poole the third in the 32. Yeah, who has that front end damage, but elected not to take on the faster pair after the first caution. And he's going to fall a lap down now. Dylan Poteet right now, he needs to get ahead of the 38. And then he needs to get up there to the 3 of Shuey, who is about 16 seconds ahead. Then they got to come back around and catch John Poole at the 3rd for him to be in a lucky dog position. Remember, though, he has used a faster pair, as has Jason Shuey in the 3. Those are the 2 drivers so far that have had to take on that mulligan faster pair here. But DJ Stagner there in the 64, right now in the 7th position. It's where he started this race. Looking for back-to-back victories here. Coming up his first career win in the 2nd Dega Duel last week. Chad Winstead right there in the 6th. 7th race on the season. We've had about 10, 11 drivers that have made all 6 races. Chad's only made half of the races so far this season. And he is 6th in points, only 101 points out. Like I said, good finishes, especially wins, are very much so rewarded in the type of point system that there is here in the Baadteshop Superspeedway series. Kind of case in point, the 36 of Zach Johnson won the season opener at Talladega. This is only his 2nd start of the season. In the 5 races that he missed, he only dropped down to 12th in points. He was, I think, 9th in points going into the Dega Duels last week. Just 1 race and 1 victory alone. kept him up in the top 5, eventually top 10, for more than half the season. Ryan Potter up the middle 3 wide there. Gray Chevrolet Camaro. That is our points leader, and ooh, things are really close there around his vicinity. Almost hooked Bronson Stafford, and then almost got doored by Dylan Poteet. Ryan Potter feeling brave now. Remember, we saw him and a handful of others just kind of ride about 4 seconds behind the lead pack before the first caution came out. Another of the drivers that was back there was Ty Smith, and he's now up in this lead group in the 10th position. It's the blue number 18 right there, the tail end of the lead pack, and he's right behind Carl Faust in the 81, who is still off the lead lap, 2 laps down. I'm trying to see, yes, Carl Faust was the lucky dog under the only caution we've had at this point. Definitely 2 laps down to 2 laps down. Andrew Siegel, former winner from last week in Talladega, 14 laps down, has returned back to the racetrack. He spent about 9.5 minutes on pit road manual repairs, did not take on his faster pair. And while I understand holding on to that faster pair as long as you can, I'm not sure you're going to be able to get 14 laps back. I think I would have taken the faster pair on right then and there, especially with the fact that didn't have another quick caution come out. There is the aforementioned Andrew Siegel right there. Lap car is going to go yet another lap down. That'll put him at minus 15 laps to race leader Shane Tyrion, who's under fire from Tom Bourne on that outside line. Siegel's going to go down to the apron, out of harm's way. Nice to have that runoff down there, not be out of bounds. For drivers that are off the pace, to let the faster cars on by. That stifled the momentum of the inside line and allows Tom Bourne to swing around the top, pull down to the bottom, and take the race lead. Got 11 cars up in this lead pack, and then about 4 more that are straggling behind. With Seth Knoll, Sean Billman, Cody Lamas, and Zach Johnson. Got about 5 more laps till we're halfway home here in tonight's race from Atlanta. It's the race that will set the stage for the championship scenario. This will be at the high banks of the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway, for our second trip there to the 2.5-mile historic Superspeedway. And that'll be next Friday night. Green flag and fly around 8:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look at some of these drivers up here at the front trying to make last-ditch moves to get into that title picture. Tom Bourne is in a tie for 10th in points with Sean Billman, gained 6 spots in the standings after last week's event at Talladega. He's only 142 points out, which seems like a lot, as Ryan Potter, big save there, the 99, off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. But 142 points can easily be made up in this series, especially if Tom's able to close out the deal with a win here tonight. Shane Tyrion is 14th in points, 164 points out. That's easily able to be made up, and we'll talk a little bit more about drivers that have a shot because the caution is out, and I believe it is... Well, I thought it might be the 32 of John Poole III, but I think he just came down pit road. Not certain who it was. We'll check and see if it was the 32, but I don't think so. Yep, it was actually. Looks like he was trying to get out of the way of some of the stragglers there at the tail end of the pack, and oh, wow. Andrew Siegel just gets all sorts of loose going into turn 1. Comes down into passenger side door of John Poole III and loops him around. That's the second time those two have made contact today. Both times unintentional. The first time, Mike Tellier sent the 5 down to 32. And then this time, the 5 gets loose and spins into the 32. So, seems like Siegel and Poole cannot get away from each other. Then we had a couple of... Actually, we're going to show back here at the tail end of the 32's issue. Watch here. Zach Johnson, Jason Shuey, and Mike Tellier all pound the wall there, as they all had to make sure they avoided JP3 sitting in the middle of the racetrack. And then there's the leaders coming around out of turn 2. So that's some damage that's going to be on the right side of the 36, 47, and 3. We'll see how that affects them in terms of them maybe having to take on a faster pair here or not. Pit road open. Everybody is down pit lane. Not sure what the fuel window is, if this will get all these drivers home from here on out. Drag race to the commitment line. I think Shane Tyrion got Tom Bourne. That was close. Winstead going to come out in third with Stafford and Rodriguez. Looks like it'll be the top 5. Lucky Dog, I believe, will go to the 81. Let me double check on that. No, it'll go to the 3 of Jason Shuey. He was the first car 1 lap down. So we'll have 17 drivers back on the lead lap once we go green. Got a couple of drivers that are up ahead that are staying out. One of them is Dylan Poteet. The other one is Andrew Siegel. So they may be looking to potentially take a wave around. This would put Siegel to 14 laps down and Poteet to only 1 lap down, making it a fight between him and Carl Faust for the next potential lucky dog. There you saw the choose cone taking place. Winstead, Smith, Ryan Potter. All going to be on that outside line. Another driver there moving up on the outside line. It's Matt Muir. And a nice net gain in terms of track position. Everybody that was on pit road this lap, any drivers that pit on the 1 to green, they have to line up at the tail end of the longest line. So that would mean all those drivers coming off pit lane will have to line up on the inside line, since there are more drivers on the inside than there are on the outside. If we had more drivers on the outside line, then all of those drivers that pitted on the 1 to green lap would have to be lined up on the outside line. Longest line is where you line up if you pit at the 1 to green mark. Well, lap 41 will be complete. Lap 41 will go on the board. And we're going to have about 37 laps to go here when the green flag flies once again. Again, don't know what the fuel window is for these drivers, so don't know if they can make it the rest of the way on what they've got in the tank or not. We'll also update in terms of faster pairs here in just a moment. The green flag is back in the air here at Atlanta. Lake Trawick on pit road, getting some damage repaired. He's now fallen 2 laps down as a result and has still not left his pit stall. What is going on with the 56, but might very well have taken him out of the running for the victory here tonight. Alright, so in terms of the faster pairs that have been taken on, we've already documented Dylan Poteet and Jason Shuey. You can now also add John Poole III and Mike Tellier to that list. 32 should be up to speed now. Saw him getting lapped under green flag conditions just prior to that second yellow flying. One of Seth Knoll got out of shape there. Trying to make something happen on the top. Chevrolet Camaro's hooked up. It's Ryan Potter, the points leader, trying to help Seth Nolan that second groove. Prior to last week, it was all Toyotas that had gone to victory lane, but Chevrolet swept the Dega Duels. Siegel and Stagner. And now looking for their third win in a row are the Bowties. Two Chevrolets up on the top, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Toyotas lined up on the inside line. Then you got a duo of Toyotas up in the outside line there. As soon as I say that, it now is just Matthew Rodriguez, but you had Rodriguez and Winstead who were hooked up there on the outside line trying to reel in one in the 99. Whoa, Ryan Potter, and he's around. Collects Matthew Rodriguez. Robert Kenny and Zach Johnson collected up in it as well. Boy, Potter, all sorts of out of shape through the center of 3 and 4. Tried to gather it up, but the thing snapped around on him. And we've got our third caution, and this one involves the points leader. Lucky dog gonna go to Carl Faust, driving the 81 here tonight. Let's go back and see what happened. Saw the wiggle, saw the snap. Everybody in that outside line really had nowhere to go. Watch Matthew Rodriguez in the 51. No exit room. Robert Kenny nowhere to go, and then Zach Johnson. Oh, I think he thought that the cars were all going to slide down the racetrack sooner than they did. He chose to go up the racetrack while most of the drivers around him went down to the inside. If he had followed them, he probably would have been fine. But since he committed to the top, he ran into the back of Robert Kenny. And he's got some good front-end damage there. I think it kind of knocked the whole grill in or the whole grill off. Here's on board with Robert Kenny. See, he's on the brakes. But those cars just do not slow on a dime. Carrying speeds of 170 plus into the corner. There's just no way for you to get that thing woed up in time. All 4 drivers sustaining damage. You got, I believe, all of them on pit road, with the exception of Zach Johnson, who I believe, no. I was going to say, I think he had already hit pit road and maybe taken on his faster pair, but no, he's still out there. There he is. No front end. Gonna try and ride it out there. We'll see how that works out for him. Got the confirmation, Carl Faust, the lucky dog. So as of right now, as things are scored, we'll have 16 drivers on the lead lap. Dylan Poteet and Jason Shuey, 1 lap down. John Poole, the third, 2 laps down. 7 laps down, Blake Trawick, who is still on pit road. And Andrew Siegel, 14 laps down in 21st. And we have our first retiree. Blake Trawick has just been pushed back behind the wall. So it looks like, yeah, we got enough laps. He will finish 21st place here tonight. Andrew Siegel's got enough time to be able to pick up at least that 20th position. He will do so in the next 6 to 7 laps or so. Lights are on the pace car. We're ready to go back green. To be with 30 laps to go. Working our third caution of the evening. This most recent caution for the points leader, Ryan Potter, who we will check and see here in just a moment if he had to use his faster pair or not. Could be very important with still a good handful of laps left to be run here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Shane Terrian has been the dominant car of the day. He has certainly led the most laps. And he'll lead another one as he'll bring us to green. Mike Tellier will be to his outside. Tom Bourne has been a mainstay inside of the top 5 all night so far. He'll restart in third. And it's Chad Winstead and Bronson Stafford, the top five. The Toyotas, again, at the front, much like they were at the start of this race. Shane Tyrion leads them into turn number one. I have to go back and look. I don't recall if Shane Tyrion has won yet in his Baadteshop Superspeedway Series career. I feel like he has, but I kind of want to go and get some confirmation on that. Bear with me for a second as I look back through the statistics. At least to my immediate knowledge, I do not remember him taking a checkered flag. And back to the first season. No, he has never won in the Baadteshop Superspeedway Series, so might be looking for his very first here tonight. So went back and looked. Ryan Potter did not use his faster pair under this caution. Matter of fact, it looks like nobody involved in that wreck took on their faster pair. Matthew Rodriguez, Ryan Potter, Zach Johnson. None of those drivers took their faster pair. They went with manual repair only. Hanging on to that mulligan for later on in this race. Also worth noting that we ended up having, I believe it was 8 drivers stay out. Did not come to pit road under that last yellow. So that question of if drivers can make it on fuel or not, that remains to be seen. I was incorrect in a report I gave of Blake Trewick being out of the race. I just noticed him pull down to the apron off of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. He is actually still out on the racetrack. His name was grayed out for me for a time, so I don't know if it was a connection thing or what, but he is back on the racetrack. He is 8 laps down in the 20th position, so Andrew Siegel, at least for right now, will not nab that 20th spot in the final finishing results. He's got 6 laps separating him and Trewick as they are currently scored. Something going here. Really only seen the outside line work once tonight, and that was when Tom Ward got pushed to the race lead. Well, you just saw right there Shane Tyrion get his left sides down on that apron. Got loose. That might be the opportunity that Chad Winstead and Seth Knoll and DJ Stagner want. Not quite clear, though about half a car length out in front that time was Winstead. And now I think he, well, nope. It looked like it down the back straightaway, but nope, not quite clear yet. Here's the Castro Toyota Supra. Drivers get bonus points in this series for all sorts of reasons. Someone just brushed the wall back there. I think that might have been the 5 of Andrew Siegel. Drivers get bonus points for leading the lap, for leading the most laps. They also get bonus points for picking up the most places from start to finish and setting the fastest lap of the race. As of right now, the driver that would lock up the most places picked up would be Matt Muir. He's currently running in 8th and started in 21st, a net gain of 13 spots. And not too far behind him would be 10 positions gained Tom Bourne from 14th up to his current running position of 4th. Fastest lap of the race is DJ Stagner. Yes, it is, and it's by quite a margin. You got 1, 2, like two drivers that I could see that have run lap times in the 30.3s. That was Andrew Siegel and Carl Faust. But DJ Stagner is the only driver that has set a lap time in the 30.289. Honestly, I'm not certain that that's going to be beat. I mean, right now, drivers up in this pack are running lap times in the 31.2, 31.3 second bracket. It's about a full second slower than the lap laid down by DJ Stagner. So I think Stagner will be very much in control of what's going to be my fastest lap set here tonight at Atlanta. Filed out. Teammates all with Terrian, Bourne, and Stafford. And they're mixing it up, fourth place on back. Seth Knoll, Chad Winstead side by side for the fourth spot. Sixth under contest, Mike Tellier on the bottom and DJ Stagner on the top. And then you've got some more riders back there. Matt Muir, the lap car of Andrew Siegel. Ty Smith, Robert Kenny right now in 72, 10, complete the top 10. Cody Lamas right now the first one outside of the top 10 in the 11th position, followed by the 81 of Carl Faust. Less than 20 to go here at Atlanta. Wanted to check back and see about another thing I was curious of. Talked about Shane Tyrion looking for his first win in the UpperEdge Baadteshop Superspeedway Series. Well, the car right behind him, Tom Bourne, is also looking for his first career win in the series. And just last week, we saw two first-time winners go to victory lane in Siegel and Stagner. May end up seeing yet another. As a matter of fact, 4 of our 5 winners this season have all gotten their first career wins. Add Zach Johnson and Dylan Pote to that list. Oh man, big slide, big wiggle for DJ Stagner in that middle line. That's going to hurt Chad Winstead. His drafting partner is gone. You saw Mike Tellier, he did not lift. He swung around the outside 3 wide, and he goes from 7th now up to 5th and looking for more as he pulls up to the back bumper of Bronson Stafford to get around Winstead for that 4th position, and looks like he will get it. Seth Knoll showed the nose there down below the double white line on Mike Tellier. Didn't have the momentum. Ooh, man, almost was able to get to the inside of him there. Was able to arc real nice out of the corner, get the nose pointed. But again, didn't have the momentum to get to the inside of the 47. Got 15 drivers up in this lead pack right now. Back to Matthew Rodriguez. Got some lap cars intermingled into it, including the 5 of Andrew Siegel, the 31 of Dylan Poteet, who right now is in the lucky dog position should we get a caution. Blake Trawick is also up here, multiple laps down. And I think John Poole the 3rd, yeah, he is. Oh, never mind about that. We got a wreck. That's DJ Stagner. Oh, we got a lot of cars involved. Poole's in it. Rodriguez, Poteet. I see Ty Smith and Andrew Siegel further up there. Sean Billman. The big one is struck, and it started with DJ Stagner. Zach Johnson, I think, was in that vicinity, and I couldn't tell who the other car was where it initially began. This caution coming out, nearing 10 laps to go. I think we had about 13 and a half laps remaining. This is going to, I think, going to force the hand of a lot of drivers that may not have yet used their fast repair. They're going to probably have to use it now. Let's go back and see what happened. Started with one of our winners from last week, DJ Stagner. I think he got really loose in the middle again like we had saw earlier on out of 3 and 4, this time into 1 and 2. Oh, I think we may have had a little gap whack there, actually. Stagner's the one that goes up and over. I think the 5 of Andrew Siegel may have gap-whacked into the right rear of DJ Stagner, turned him up the track into Chad Winstead. Cody Lamas was also involved in the 48. Robert Kenny in the 10 got a piece of it. We'll be taking a look at several angles, trying to document everybody that got bits and pieces of this. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, Dylan Pote was one of the drivers we had on our list of those that had already taken on his faster pair. I think his day may be done. There's a big hit for Ty Smith. Carl Faust, did he get through that? Might have had a little front end damage, but I think he got through that wreck. Billman didn't get much damage. I think he just got lightly tapped by Robert Kenny. Let's focus on that 81. I want to see if Carl Faust got through this without contact. Because if he did, that is mighty impressive. Gets into the back of somebody. Might have some front end damage right there. Gets into the 32 of John Poole III. But then after that, snakes to the middle, snakes to the bottom, it gets through. There you can see that damage on the right front. But compared to the damage a lot of other drivers got, that is quite minimalistic. Here's on board with Dylan Poteet. He's in the lucky dog position. On the brakes, trying to slow. And there's John Poole III. Poteet indeed is out of the race. Tough break there for the two-time winner. Let's go on board with DJ Stagner. He's coming out of turn number 4. We're approaching a slower car. 36, I think, of Zach Johnson. So they did get taken 3 wide, and maybe that's why the 5 snapped down into Stagner and may have had that gap whack. He was moving low in preparation of taking the 36 3 wide. And a wild, wild ride there for DJ Stagner going into turn 1. That will not only end the day of Dylan Pote, but also of Andrew Siegel. So 2 of our former winners will not reach the conclusion of tonight's race here from Atlanta. Jason Shuey got the lucky dog under this yellow flag. We'll have 17 on the lead lap when we go back green. Shane Tyrion's been the dominant car of the night, and he'll lead us back to green. 10 laps to go here at Atlanta for at least the scheduled distance. Remember, there is the possibility that tonight's race could go into one, if not multiple, overtime green-white checkers. John Poole III, hoping for another caution. He is the only driver 1 lap down, so he is the only one competing for a free pass position at this point in time. And I think we had a majority of drivers take on their faster pair under that yellow. Chad Winstead, Robert Kenny, Matthew Rodriguez, Cody Lamas, Ty Smith, DJ Stagner, amongst those that took on their mulligan. So remember that list, and if we end up having another wreck, see if any of those drivers are involved. Hopefully that will not be the case. Had some good long green flag runs here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Saw 6 cautions back in the first time we came here to the reconfigured 1.5 miles, but here tonight, 4 cautions for 12 laps, 14 lead changes. You can see the average speed, 180 miles per hour. We've been under the green flag quite a bit here tonight. As we get closer towards the end of this race, that may change. Here's Shane Tyrion. I think that basically you're just hugging the bottom now. Stay on the bottom. If they pass you on the top, do not give up the shorter way around the racetrack. Bronson Stafford up on that outside line, trying to get his second win on the season. He's getting some good pushes from Seth Knoll. Chevrolet helping a Toyota. Got the Toyota Super contingency on the inside line with Tyrion Bourne and now Mike Teller. Matt Muir is going to be the third car up in that outside line. Six laps to go here at Atlanta. Tyrion continues to edge ahead, exiting out of the corner, and more importantly, at the start-finish line if it comes down to a photo finish. Wide back there. DJ Stagner up on the top, Kenny on the middle line, and then Winstead on the bottom. Contact there between Mike Tellier and, oh, we got a big wreck. Car up and into the catch fence. That was Matt Muir, and I believe he is stuck there. He is. Matt Muir has impaled himself on the catch fence. The car lodged up in there. And caution will fly for the 5th time tonight. We might be going into overtime. Not seeing laps getting added onto the ticker just yet. But there was initial contact between Mike Tellier and Seth Knoll. Tellier, I believe, spun through the infield grass, or at least went down to the infield grass, and then in reaction to what was going on ahead, somebody hooked Matt Muir up and into the catch fence. Let's go back and take a look. 5th caution of the night. Rubbing some banging doors through the front straightaway here between the 47 and the 1. Tellier gets loose. Clips the infield grass, but saves it, keeps it pointing in the right direction. Same cannot be said for the 72 of Matt Muir. Fortunately as well, I think he had a faster pair still available. He did, but because he was lodged up into the catch fence, he has to call a tow, and he was just past the start-finish line, which means that is going to be a very lengthy tow back to pit road. Focused on the 72 here. Watch this. Let's see who gets him. Oh, he moves up in front of DJ Stagner. I think he was looking ahead and reacting to what he saw with the 47. Didn't realize he wasn't clear on Stagner, and boy, he was very quickly lodged up there into the catch fence. Cody Lamas might have had a pretty good view of the 72 going airborne. On board with the 48. Wow. Wild ride there for Matt Muir. He's having a good outing this evening. I believe he was running around the 6th, 7th position at the time of that contact, but he will not be finishing there. John Poole III mentioned that he was the only driver 1 lap down on that last restart. He'll get the free pass. Let's see, if the lights go out atop the pace car this time, that means it's a 1-lap shootout. If they don't, then we're going into our first overtime green-white checker. It looks like they're doing the choose here in preparation of the lights going out. And they do. So we will get a green-white checkered. We will go at least 1 lap over the scheduled distance. It will not be a 1-lap shootout here to finish out this race. Shane Tyrion has been the strong car here tonight. Tom Bourne behind him has kind of kept him up there. Those two have been hooked up the entire race. On that bottom line, they've run first and second almost the entirety of this thing. Bronson Stafford, though, on that outside line, looking to get his 2nd victory of the season. Looking for that 3rd straight championship. As a matter of fact, Bronson is the only driver inside of the top 5 that's a former winner of the series. Tyrion, Bourne, Winstead, and Knoll all looking for their first career wins here in this series. Usual green-white checker rules. Green flag flies. They got to get back to the white flag. If they do not and the caution flies prior, we rack them up, we do it again. But if they do make it back to the white flag, to the start-finish line, we race back to the checkers no matter what. Here we go. Pace car to pit road, hopefully for the final time. Shane Tyrion hoping that Tom Bourne gives him a big push. Bronson Stafford hoping Winstead does the same. Green flag back in the air. Green-white checker here at Atlanta. Ryan Potter, points leader in the 99. He's back up here. 6th place, just jump from the top down to the bottom. Now 4th on the inside line. Tom Bourne has been committed to pushing the 38. But if it comes down to it and he has a run, has a push, you see him jump out and try and go for this victory himself. Might wait until the last lap here as white flag in the air, 1 lap to go. You see Tyrion go down and try and block any attempt to go onto the apron. 3 wide. We're racing back to the checkers as we made it back to the start-finish line. Cody Lamas will get spun by Matthew Rodriguez. Stay green. Big push, Seth Knoll, courtesy of Bronson Stafford. Got a couple cars up in the wall there, Tellier and Winstead. Tyrion and Knoll gonna be side by side here off of turn number 4. Gonna be 3 wide, Tom Bourne up the middle, but Tyrion's gonna hold on, as I believe we were 4 wide across the line for 2nd place. But Shane Tyrion didn't have to block any of them. He was ahead of every single line. And Shane Tyrion, who started 2nd, is gonna finish 1st. It's his 1st career win in the Baadteshop Superspeedway Series. It takes place here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Tom Bourne, who was his wingman all night long, is going to get 2nd, and Seth Knoll is going to bring it home in the 3rd position in his 1st start here this season. Going to be a big points day for the points leader Ryan Potter, getting 4th, and Bronson Stafford's going to bring it home in the 5th position. Looks like 6/100ths separation between Bourne, Knoll, Potter, and Stafford in that 4 wide situation for 2nd place, coming back to the checkered flag. But Shane Tyrion gets to do some burnouts for the very first time here in the UpperEdge Racing Baadteshop Superspeedway Series here at Atlanta. What a wild finish we had here tonight. And where does this place Shane Tyrion in the conversation potentially for the championship in 2 weeks' time? He's going to gain a lot of points here tonight with leading the most laps and, of course, winning the race. And it is a team affair down there at the start-finish line. Combination of Sky Motorsports and Hula Monkey Motorsports. Robert Kenny drives for Hula Monkey. And this is interesting. Well, we had Dylan Poteet do the backwards Polish victory lap, but he did it backwards around the racetrack the opposite direction. Now Shane Tyrion is doing the backwards one the front ways, the correct direction around the racetrack. And getting a little coaching there, it looks like, from Robert Kenny. Drivers have had some very interesting celebrations this season, to say the least. Shane Tyrion's going about 80 miles per hour right now. It's pretty impressive. So if he's facing backwards, does that mean that if he crosses the start-finish line, we take away one of the laps that he led? Well, Mike Tellier comes flying in and gets into Kenny, who then gets into Tyrion, but you can tear that race car up now. It's a race-winning car. at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's take a look at the final finishing results from this evening. Shane Terry in the winner, Tom Bourne in second. Third place for Seth Knoll. We'll be talking to those top three finishers here in just a moment. Ryan Potter came in the points leader. He'll leave the points leader, I'm pretty certain. Big chunk of points here tonight for driver 99 as he gets fourth, and Bronson Stafford completing the top five. Sean Billman, we didn't really talk much about Sean all night long outside of getting a slight piece of that big one over into turn one. Very quiet night, which is kind of a good thing when it comes to super speedway racing. Under the radar, sneak out those good finishes, and he gets sixth. Carl Faust doing the driving duties for Connor Holden in the 81 this evening, brings that home in seventh. Matthew Rodriguez gets eighth, ninth for Robert Kenny, and Zach Johnson in his second start of the season brings it home in the 10th position. Saw a few drivers get involved in some incidents there on the final lap. Chad Winstead, Mike Tellier finished 13th and 15th as a result of their contact. Cody Lamas, who got spun by Matthew Rodriguez, brings it home in 16th. And then the number of drivers finished off the lead lap involved in multiple incidents here tonight. Matt Muir visited the catch fence. DJ Stagner went up and over. Blake Trawick, Dylan Poteet both finished out of the race. Andrew Siegel, winner from last week, was running well in the points coming into this race. I believe, if I can quickly check, he was 7th in overall points, less than 120 points out. But he's going to lose quite a bit of ground here this evening, finishing last of the drivers that took the green. Joey Chapman was on the grid, but he did not start, and so he'll get credited for 22nd place here tonight. Let's see if we can talk with our podium finishers, and let's dial up a driver that had a pretty good debut here this evening, bringing it home in the third position. See if we can talk with Seth Knoll.
Oh, hello.
Hey Seth, it's Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Oh, great debut for you here tonight. A tough racetrack in Atlanta Motor Speedway, but up there in the closing stages inside of the top five, a lot of drivers moving around, and you had a big run there on the outside in that final lap down the back straightaway. What little more did you need to be able to break up the 38 and the 16 and put this one car in P1?
I think the only thing we could have done different was to try and make the move we made on the front stretch coming to the white, probably on the back stretch. Outside of that, those two were pretty committed to each other, and with the way the aero and everything works with this car at this track, there was not really going to be much we could do unless those two split up. So they did a good job executing, and then they ended up winning.
Now, it looked like up here in the booth, like that outside line, it could get up there alongside of the inside line, but could never get the advantage in terms of momentum. Was that actually the case, or was there something that could propel that outside line past the inside line?
I think it had more to do with how well the bottom executed than the top executing. Like, if the bottom was able to execute as well as they were, Tom and Shane were doing a really good job executing on the bottom. If we had different people on the bottom, maybe it wouldn't have worked, depending on who's with who. But those two just did a good job all night, controlling the entire race and just holding the bottom.
When we came here the first time, saw a lot of drivers slipping and sliding around. Saw the same thing here tonight. Were you dealing with that same sensation, or were you able to keep the car pretty well planted during the course of the event?
Well, the first half of the race, I had no problem because I was riding around half throttle. Then about like lap 35, I started going, and I was experiencing the snap on entry, but figured out a couple things to do to not make it do that. And then after I figured that out, it really wasn't too bad. It was just all about putting myself in the right spot and trying to weave our way to the pack.
Worked your way through the pack, you did. Started this race from fourth, bring it home in that third position, up inside of the top five for pretty much the entirety of the second half of this race. Definitely a contender here in the closing stages. Congratulations on the podium finish here tonight, Seth. Before we let you go, we'll give you the opportunity to thank some sponsors and do some shout-outs.
Appreciate the broadcast tonight, boys. Appreciate the league throwing together the Superspeedway series. I've been seeing it on Twitter all season. Finally decided to pop in and do a race. Appreciate the boys on Nexus Esports, Splash and Go on the hood tonight. And that's what we got.
That's Seth Knoll. He brings it home in the third position here tonight in his first start of the season. Congratulations on the great run. Hopefully, we see you make a couple more starts here in the final couple of races.
I appreciate it, boys.
See if we can dial up our second place finisher here tonight. I believe, yes, it is his first podium on the season. Let's talk with Tom Bourne. Hey, Tom, Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got me?
What's up, Seth?
Well, great run for you here tonight. Looked like you and that 38 had a strategy worked to perfection. I think you guys spent the last 40 laps or so lined up first and second on that inside line, and nobody was able to get around you guys. Talk about that, because we saw a lot of drivers have some handling issues here tonight. How difficult was it to keep those bumpers lined up?
It was pretty difficult. We ended up doing another league race yesterday, and it just so happened that we were doing 120 laps here in the Xfinity car. So we got a lot of good practice with that, just handling the tires and basically learning how to keep the cars in line and everything, and thankfully it worked out.
Now, we've talked about, the unorthodox point system here. A second place finish here tonight with 2 races remaining. You came into tonight 10th in the point stands, 142 points out. And again, I explained to everybody watching at home, that may seem like a lot of points, but that can easily be made up with how the point system works. So how important was it to get this finish here tonight in preparation for these final 2 races to make a bid for that championship trophy?
It definitely was important. I haven't had the best season. I've had a lot of DNFs, a lot of finishes outside the top 10 to where I wasn't getting many points. And somehow I was sitting 10th in points coming in, and I would have loved to win this race. I'll get there eventually, probably. But, sitting here, especially with Poteet having problems, and somehow Potter got back up to 4th. I don't know how that happened, but, I mean, good on him. It's definitely going to make it interesting going into the final 2 races, especially with the last one being a double points doubleheader. Or just double points. I'm not sure. But, so it should be fun, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it is indeed a double points race at iRacing Superspeedway. So I got to ask the question, because we saw you and the 38 were very committed to each other, but coming down to the end there, you talk about wanting to get that checkered flag. Were you formulating a plan that if you had a little slip up, or if you saw some kind of run the outside line, you were going to make a move and try and get this thing yourself?
Oh yeah, I flat out told him after the race. I'm like, look, I'm if you didn't cut down coming off turn 4, I was gonna cut low and use that apron. But once I saw him cut down, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay here. Maybe I'll get a push. Maybe I can get beside him, because he had no help down there. So it didn't. All I needed to do was make sure I got a top 3, and luckily, once I saw him duck down, I was just going to be like, all right, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to try and secure the win for him, because he is my teammate after all. And, hopefully get a 1-2. And luckily, that's what happened.
Got that podium finished, got some really good points heading into next week at Daytona, and more than likely going to climb up further in the point standings, a little bit closer maybe to that points lead. Tom, congratulations on the great performance here tonight. Before we let you go, the floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Yeah, just got to thank Ghost Energy for being on the car week in and week out. Matt Rod and Mike for both putting on the league every week and everything. And, FRN, always a great job broadcasting. You as a broadcaster, always top notch and everything. Sky Motorsports for putting together another fast car, and my beautiful fiance Melissa, she is always watching, my #1 supporter. So hopefully we can get in victory lane and at some point this season, and hopefully I'll be talking to you again next week.
Well, he's got 2 more races to try and get that checkered flag. Tom Bourne brings it home second place here tonight, though. Great performance at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Congratulations. Best of luck next week as we head back to Daytona.
Thanks, Seth.
And let's go down to victory lane. First time this season, first time in his career, Shane Tyrion is a winner in the Baadteshop Superspeedway Series. Let's dial him up. Hey Shane, Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
I got you. It's been a while.
Well, he absolutely has. Congratulations on your first career win. Dominant car here tonight. Led a majority of the second half of this race, but You had him fanned out 4 wide behind you, out of turn 4, coming to the start-finish line. So how difficult was it trying to figure out which lane you had to block there to make sure you came back and led the most important last lap?
I I just knew to get to the apron, don't let anyone get below me because that was the best place to be. I just did this 120 laps of this track yesterday, so I had a lot of knowledge. So it definitely paid off. So I knew exactly what I needed to do. I'm like, I'm not leaving the bottom. I said it in the race. Like Bronson was up top or my teammates. I'm like, I'm at the bottom. I'm not leaving. Told you I'm not leaving the bottom. This is where I belong, and I stayed.
Saw a number of times off of turn 4. Couldn't tell if maybe you got your left sides down on the paint or down the apron. Looked a little loose off of that corner. I mean, you were out there in front, but didn't exactly look like you were having a Sunday drive, still having to fight that race car tonight.
Yeah, I had warned Matt yesterday after the race we had yesterday that he needs to adjust the weather for these guys because this could be a lot more aggressive. Uh, the right rear spurn, you're gonna get loose, you're gonna wreck, you're gonna self spin. We had it a lot yesterday, so he made adjustments. Car was still loose, but not nearly as bad as yesterday. So if you full throttled it into the corner or you're getting pushed to the corner, you were loose. So it was fun to control, but it was not nearly as hard as yesterday. So I will take kudos to Matt for doing that, so everyone can have a nice, fun, stress-free-ish race there, without having to worry about the car.
So 2 races left here in the season. Got double points coming up in that season finale, but big momentum because of this victory here tonight. You came into this race 14th in points. We've stressed and we've stressed. I think we've beaten the horse to death about the unorthodox point system rewarding going to victory lane. You now jump 10 spots in the standings up to 4th. You're only 117 points out, certainly within striking distance with 2 races remaining. So how important is this in terms of not only just getting this checkered flag for the very first time in your career, but also having that momentum in making a championship push?
Um, can we just keep coming to Atlanta? Like, that'd be great. No, I told myself the other day I haven't been winning much because I haven't been aggressive like I used to be. So I was aggressive last couple of races and it's been paying off. So I'm just gonna keep that mentality and see what happens. I just gotta be aggressive and trust the guys around me more than I have been.
Well, aggressive here tonight. You start on the outside of the front row. You bring it home with the victory. I don't think this 38 fell outside of the top 5 very much here tonight. Dominant performance. Strongest car in the field, it seemed like. Congratulations on getting that first checkered flag. Before we let you get back to your celebrating, we're going to hand the mic over to you for some victory lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yeah, I'm gonna thank Matt for the league. I think this is the team's first win for Hello Monkey. I think I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it's I guess I got their first win, I guess. And then obviously Evil Controllers back in the car. I haven't won with them on the car in a couple years, I think. So thanks to them and you guys for broadcasting. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this one.
Well, it was a thriller, no doubt about it. Shane Tyrion picking up the victory here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll see what he's able to do here down the home stretch of Season 4. Congratulations on the victory. We'll let you get back to your celebrating, and best of luck next week as we continue on at Daytona.
Thank you, Seth.
Shane Tyrion going to become the 6th different winner on the season and becomes the 5th different driver to capture his first checkered flag in the Baadteshop Superspeedway series here in Season 4, joining the likes of DJ Stagner, Andrew Siegel, Dylan Poteet, and Zach Johnson. Well, what a thriller here tonight, the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I think drivers learned a lot from the first time we came here to this racetrack back in May. We saw a lot more green flag racing, saw some good double wide racing up at the front. Pretty much some side-by-side racing for a number of laps for the race lead. Granted, we had our cautions, we had our flips, we had our wrecks, but it's Superspeedway racing. We're going to have that no matter where we go, whether it be here, iRacing Superspeedway, Talladega, or Daytona. Every single track has had its big one so far this season, but really good race here tonight. A thrilling finish, and congratulations to Shane Tyrion on getting the checkered flag. Next week, these drivers head to Daytona for the final time this season. It will set the stage for the season finale at iRacing Superspeedway. Who is going to be mathematically in the hunt for that championship? You're going to have to wait and find out. Next week, it will be Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as drivers prepare for Daytona, the World Center of Racing. But thanks everybody for tuning in here tonight. Hope that you guys enjoyed our coverage from Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.